Alright, this is going to be a continuation from my last video. If you didn't watch it, it was the top 5 of my favorite, quote-unquote, the coolest guys I've met, guys who were very, good to me as a person, as a fan, whatever you want to call it. Now is the total opposite. 5 guys who were complete douchebags, complete assholes, complete idiots. So, this list was actually harder to comprise than the first one, because, to be quite honest, there haven't been too many guys who were really, unappreciative, I guess, or very, not nice. But I got 5, and starting with Shelton Benjamin, I'm going to cut Charlie Haas and Kurt Angle on there and just leave him in there, because this is a little famous story. I'm sure everyone's heard it before. It was ROH in Atlanta, and here I am. It was my first time seeing him. I was marking out. I'm like, oh, Shelton Benjamin, all this, all that. And the lineup to get out of the parking garage was backed up, as Jay Briscoe, I might add, was directing traffic. And Shelton Benjamin was in his car. He had the window down. No, he didn't have the window down. But he's like looking at everyone, and I had my finger. I'm like, Shelton, can you sign this for me? And he wasn't going anywhere. The car was in park. He's just on his phone talking to whoever was beside him, and he heard me. He looked right at me. He looked at the figure, and then I had my marker in my hand, and he just totally moved his head the other way and ignored me the whole time. So then I backed up, and as I was backing up, I guess it was enough for one car to move up, and he accelerates. My foot was so close from getting hit. Luckily, I had insurance in Atlanta, but that was definitely something I've had an experience, getting ran over by one Shelton Benjamin. So he takes the cake on number 5. Still looking forward to that match of $20 on a poll at WrestleMania 30. Myself and Stevie Breach, YouTube's greatest tag team versus the world's greatest tag team, quote unquote, of Charlie Haas and Shelton Benjamin. And this is number 4, Scott Steiner. I met him at the same place I met Hulk Hogan. He was the first guy I met that day. And what had happened, I went up to him, and he was putting on his gimmick t-shirt, I guess, to sell to people. And he put his shirt on, and I was there with my world title in this magazine. And I gave him the ticket. He signed my thing, and I was just like, what did I say? I was like, oh, so do you think, like, oh, what did I do? Ask him about his Twitter account? No, that was before. No, this was before that, because I met him again. No, I saw him again. I forgot what I asked him now. It was something about Triple H and his thing that he did. Something about that bodybuilding. I can't even remember now. But it was something about they held the bodybuilding pose down, and then the arm wrestling thing. Just asked him, like, oh, what was the whole deal behind that? He ignored me, and after he was done signing, he gave it back to me. He turned his back, and he told the guy to take his money. I'm like, all right. And I gave him $10, whatever it was, for 2 autographs, $20, and I moved on to the next guy in my life, because he was a jackass. I could have met him again, and I really just wanted to ask him about the Twitter account, but didn't even bother. Number 3, 543, Brutus the Barber Beefcake. Now, I wasn't going in there expecting anything, because, to be quite honest, I just met him to get this signed. But he went in there, signed it, and I asked him about the skydiving accident that took him out of wrestling, and he didn't say anything. He was just like, oh yeah, it was a bad time. That's all he said. And then he gave me back my figure, and at that time, I was really into getting wrestlers to do my intro for me, like, oh, you're watching, Assault and Battery 777 YouTube page, and I asked him, I said, do you mind if you can do like a 5-second intro for my thing? And he said, he thought about it at first, and he said, oh no, I can't. If you want to do it, you're going to have to go through these people. He gave me a business card of guys through his agent, I guess it was, and they're going to set up a date, a time, a price, and I'm like, I just looked at him, and I'm like, alright, that's fine. And then Tatanka was right beside him, who was a really cool guy, I might add. And I asked him the same thing, and he looked at Brutus, and he just nodded his head, and Tatanka said, oh, I'll get you after the show. And I knew at that, I didn't even stay for the main event. Me and Legend Killer left at the beginning of the main event because it was a shitty show, not going to lie. Because he was in it. He was like fighting for the world title, and I'm not even kidding. So, whatever. At least I got his thing signed when he dies. It'll be worth about $10 more. Number 2, Jake the Snake Roberts. Now, for those of you guys who were in Miami waiting in line with me, you saw that Jake Roberts was at the bar early in the morning. It was like 9 a.m., 10 a.m., and he was already at the bar getting drunk. And I think I got a video of it. I don't know. I might have. But he was there. He was, I gave him the figure. He was with his wife who was taking the tickets. And he signed it. Signing. And I was like, what did I say to him? I said something along the lines of like, you know, your stuff in the 80s with Hogan was amazing. The promos, like, I'm sure he's heard this stuff a million times before. And he didn't even say anything. He just and then that's it. And then I even said in the video, I don't know if that Extreme Nick 09, I think it was him or Luke. One of them were filming. And you heard me say it right in the camera. I'm like, Jake Roberts, you're a douchebag. Like, you're a complete asshole. I didn't say it to him, obviously, but I did say it to the camera. And but the thing is, I understand, looking back on it now, and, you know, seeing what Jake Roberts is doing, that he was probably really fucked up at the time in his head. So I wanted to meet him again and tell him the story and see how he reacts to it. But if that means I have to pay another $20, I think I'd hold off. Number 1. Now, this is going to be surprising to a lot of people, but Jimmy Hart was the number 1 biggest asshole to me. And the only reason that he wasn't compared to Jake Roberts was because Jake Roberts gave me that little That's the only thing that made Jimmy Hart number 1 and Jake Roberts number 2. Because when I went up to Jimmy Hart, and I got a video of this at Wrestle Reunion, maybe I'll post the whole thing, because I'm pretty sure Jade has the whole thing of him, like, for like proof that I'm not even kidding right now. I gave him this, and he signed it, and Iron Sheik's manager was just like maybe 3 feet, 4 feet away. He called him over, and he's like, "Oh, are you going to that? This is me. You guys are where I am, and I'm where Jimmy Hart is, and this guy's like out of the camera. Oh, are you going to that concert next week?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, it's on Friday." "Oh yeah, I was thinking about going to it. And what do you think about it?" So he's giving me the figure as he's talking to him, and I'm like, okay. I just took it. I'm out of there. That was the biggest thing out there. I paid like $25 to see him. I would have said something, I don't know, but very, very disappointing about that. And I know Stevie Breach said that he was the nicest guy that he met. Jimmy Hart was one of the nicest, but total opposite experience for me. And I know a lot of people were saying the same thing about Ric Flair. When I met him, he's really cool, but when you guys met him, he wasn't the greatest. I guess guys have their days, but what can you do? And I'll see you guys tomorrow.